Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell. Guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so I have Jon Kurtz on the line, and he is co-founder and CEO over at Dog is Good. Jon, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Pleasure to be here with you and Mission Matters.
All right, Jon. So I've done a lot of episodes, a lot of marketing episodes. There's a lot of people listening that are either business owners, entrepreneurs, executives. They're looking into, building brands, or maybe they've already created big brands. And I have to tell you, you're one of the first big dog lifestyle brands that we've had on the show. So I'm definitely excited to get into this. So maybe just to kick us off, just tell us a little bit more about how you got started with Dog is Good and this concept overall. Because, you're going in business, you've been in business going on 12 years now. You managed to accomplish quite a bit. So how'd you get started with this concept?
Yeah, well, it started kind of innocently. We didn't go in with like, hey, let's do a business, what's money and that sort of thing. But my wife, who's normally the one doing these podcasts, she's better looking and certainly more talkative than I am and descriptive and emotional about it. But so back this is a while back, 2005-ish, I think, was the original idea. Gila, my wife, is still a dog trainer. And so we had a little peek into what was going on in the pet industry. And around that time, things were really heating up. The humanization of pets and just the growth of the pet industry was really taking off. And we just recognized that people were doing things for the dogs and nobody was doing anything for the dog lover. And we thought, God, we could come up with some really good ideas, and hey, let's do that. So we did. Came up with the name Dog is Good, and it's pretty easy to get started with apparel products. So that was a starting point for us. Came up with some original ideas and concepts and fun things, and we were printing on items that were more fashionable instead of going to an event and there's white T-shirts and you pick your iron on and it says "I love my pug." We were doing things that were a little more forward thinking than that and a little more attractive, and basically ended up creating a brand out of it. Longer term, it just evolved further than we ever thought it would. And today the model, it just keeps evolving and changing with the landscape of what consumers are looking for.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm looking at the website right now, which is dogisgood.com. And some of these shirts and some of the other things you have, and they're like Dog Mom, best relationship ever, never walk alone. Then you have the dog on the T-shirt. Just all these different concepts you have on here. It just seems really cool. And what I like about it is that you can see when I look at your branding and everything else, like you're a happy brand. Like when I see this, it's like I don't have a dog right now, and I kind of want one now. I think you're just a good advocate for the industry.
Yeah, thanks. And that's what really sets us apart. Is it's a brand with a lot of emotion. And you might look at some of the designs or the messaging and say, yeah, that's neat. But to someone else, it's going to be, oh my God, that is just so me. There's something in there that's going to connect with any dog lover. And you nailed it by saying, hey, it's a brand that makes you happy. That's exactly what it is, because dogs make us happy. And it's an experiential brand because anyone that comes in contact with it, our desire is that they're touched emotionally like their first 2 minutes home. When the dog lover comes home and the dog is going nuts, even though it might only be 2 or 3 hours you're out of the house, it just gives you that lift. And dogs have become so important in our lives, and certainly in the last, our relationship culturally has changed with dog ownership, and we're fond of saying, certainly in our lifetimes, and I'll not reveal how old we actually are, but we've always said, the dog in our lifetime has moved from the backyard to the bedroom and quite literally into the bed. And the relationship we have with our dogs is just like no other. And there's so much meaning. And the longer we've been doing this, the more we learn about how deep that connection is that we have with our dogs. So the brand we just want to remind people and allow them to share their love of dogs by wearing our clothing products, by using, we've got so many different types of products now. Dog lovers love to share their love of dog, and we enable that.
So some people out there listening that are, they may not be creating obviously a dog brand, or, they have their own niches. And you've been in business for a long time now. What kind of advice would you give to some people that are maybe not quite as far along on brand, and not looking for a magic bullet, but I'm just looking for some of those things that, you wish you kind of knew in the beginning, that if you go back and have that conversation with the John that's just getting started, you would have said, hey, John, you got to look out for this. What kind of things would you say?
Well, there's a couple of different pieces. There's the building the brand piece, and then there's the business side of things. It's build a brand, but you got to also be able to get a return to keep your business operating. So on the brand side, and we didn't know any of this. I'm now a retired naval officer, did almost 28 years, and as we were coming up with this stuff, I was still on active duty. This was a part-time gig, working out of the house for nights and weekends, doing events, that sort of thing. And then when I retired, we just jumped right into it. But I'd say we were 2 years in, doing it on a part-time basis, and then we were able to get a meeting with a marketing expert who was working with Service Corps of Retired Executives, SCORE, which is a great resource in a lot of cities. Love SCORE, great organization. Yeah, here in Orange County, California, it's a really robust organization. But there's a marketing guru there, and it took us a long time to get an appointment with him. And he just asked some hard questions about, like, what are you really? Because we hadn't niched it down enough. It was like, okay, what is our value proposition, so to speak? What's going to set us apart? He says, looks to me like you're just a T-shirt company about dogs. And we're like, no, we're not. We're not just a T-shirt company and blah, blah, blah. And he was right. And we had to decide, what is it about us that's going to set us apart as a brand? And we weren't able to get an appointment with him for a whole another year. And when we did, we had nailed it, and he was really pleased with that. And it was really a brand about how great you feel when you're with your dog. And then, we talked about how we could evolve the brand. But once you determine what that brand is about, then you have to be true to it. And you have to have little litmus tests as you go along, and your message needs to be consistent. But when you're clear on what the brand is about, you just have to stick with it and make it recognizable. And a brand, I've heard a brand be described as, or defined as, a promise, right? That if a brand is a promise, then it's forever. It's the truth. It's what you are. It's what people can expect. So your brand also you have to back up your brand, whether it's great customer service or just continuing, like with us, it's all original art and messaging. We are not a Me Too messaging kind of company. We're not knocking off other people's stuff. We get knocked off, now and again. But, it's original and it's meaningful. And anytime we come up with a design or a message or something, we match it against what is the brand really about. And that is generally how great you feel when you're with your dog. We want people, we call it dog Vergnügen, which is a combination of dog and the German word Vergnügen, which is pleasure. And it's how great you feel when you're with your dog. It's dog Vergnügen. It's what we do.
Oh man, it's well said, John. And you can tell. I could tell when I look at the brand, look at other things, and you look at some, like, the difference between what could be a not knocking any dog T-shirt companies. I mean, a lot of people sell T-shirts. I'm not saying that, but just the idea that you're going after that feeling of that. And you said it earlier also. You said we want to give people that feeling that they get when they first get home and they first see their dog, or that first couple of minutes. Like if you can really encapsulate that feeling, like that's what you want to do. And I think it comes through at what you're doing in Dog is Good. And for that, I think you're really obviously delivering on your mission there. And you can see it immediately when you just kind of visit the site for the first time. When I visited the first time, I'm like, oh man, it just feels a little bit different. So you're definitely executing on that promise, Jon. So that being said, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on Dog is Good, or they want to learn more about the brand and connect overall, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that, Jon?
Yeah, dogisgood.com is basically the hub for everything. And if we've got something going on, which we always do, there'll be a link to it there. And for example, as we're recording this, we are launching a new sales channel, and it's a direct selling arm, a network marketing arm, where people can join and basically create an organization of their own selling the Dog is Good product. But we've got the sales going on dogisgood.com. You'll find some of our products on Amazon, and we do still sell into retail stores. So you'll find us a lot of places there. But dogisgood.com is the primary resource to find us.
Fantastic. Well, Jon, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great things that you're doing over at Dog is Good to really create the premier dog lifestyle brand. So great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you are a first-time listener, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We want to be a return listener. Why? Because we have a lot of great guests coming up. We don't want you to miss out on those. And, of course, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there. But more importantly, leave us some comments on that video that you're watching on YouTube. Love to connect with you there and really keep that conversation going in our YouTube community. And, Jon, thanks again for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Adam.